Today we're going to work on the lattice way of multiplying. First thing you have to do is draw your boxes. You need to do it kind of like you would do an array. Notice on my numbers I have a 2-digit number and another 2-digit number. That means I need to have 2 boxes across the top and 2 boxes going up and down. Once I have my boxes, I can write my numbers on top of them. Each box gets 1 digit. So in 28, I would write the 2 right here and then the 8 over here. For 36, I would write the 3 for this top box and the 6 underneath. Notice the numbers don't actually go in the boxes, they go directly above or next to the 2 boxes. Now that I have my numbers written, I can draw the lines. I always start by drawing the diagonal lines in the bottom right corner, kind of the opposite of the way you would read. When you start reading, it's in the top left corner. When you draw your diagonals, it's in the bottom right corner. The reason I start in the bottom right corner is because there's only one box that I need to connect corner to corner. Here you can see I go from one corner of the box to the other corner, extending a little ways beyond that. That way I know that I've divided that box into 2 equal pieces. Then I move up a row, and again I want to aim corner to corner, and then continue on corner to corner until it goes outside of your lattice boxes. Then I have just one last box. Again, you always want to aim corner to corner. If you don't actually get your diagonals going from corner to corner, it'll confuse you because you'll end up with 3 pieces or 4 pieces in one square. And for each square, you only want to have 2 pieces. The first piece in your square is where you'd write the 10s. The second piece would be where you write your 1s. You can see if you write both of those digits kind of in the middle of the square, it would make sense. For example, 18 would be 1 10 and 8 1s. So this would be 10s, 1s, 10s, 1s, 10s, 1s, 10s, 1s. Now it's just a matter of multiplying, and you're going to multiply just like you would with your multiplication grid. For this box here, the 2 numbers that are touching it are 8 and 3. I know that 8 times 3 is 24. In the number 24, there are 2 10s and 4 1s. See how when I write it, you can see how it says the number 24. If you flip them around and accidentally put your 4 here or your 2 here, then it would look like 42. And that wouldn't make sense because we know 8 times 3 is 24. In this box here, I can see that I'm in the top row, so that's multiplying by 3. And I'm in the second square, so that would be the 2. 3 times 2 is 6. In the number 6, there are no 10s, so I need to put a 0 there to hold my spot. And then in the number 6, there are 6 1s. You can tell you have the right number because 0, 6 is the same thing as 6. If I had written the 6 here and the 0 here, that would look like 60. And that wouldn't make any sense because 2 times 3 isn't 60, it's 6. Now we need to move on to the bottom row. Since we're in the bottom row, we're going to be multiplying by the number 6. It doesn't matter which square we start with. Let's go ahead and start with this one. I can see I'm in the 2's column and the 6th row. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 is 1 10 and 2 1s. Notice I wrote the 1 over here and the 2 over here because it looks like a 12 now. My final box is in the 8 column and my 6th row. 8 times 6 is 48. That's 4 10s and 8 1s. See how you can see that number 48, you know that you've written them correctly. After I've done all my multiplying, it's time to add. I really need to focus on adding in the diagonals. At this point, it might be useful for you to have a paper that you can use to cover up some of the area that you don't want to look at that time. I'm just going to have a little rectangle here to help me out. I'm going to turn that rectangle so that it looks like a piece of paper that can line up with my diagonals. Now I can just focus on one piece at a time. In this first diagonal, I can see all I have is the 8. I want to focus on what's inside my square. So if I'm just looking inside my square, all I have is this 8. 8 plus nothing is just going to be 8. I write that down on the bottom. Then I want to shift over and look at my next diagonal. So I'm going to move my paper over. And it might be useful for you to get another piece of paper so that you can cover up the row you've already done. Now it's easy for me to see 4, 4, and 2. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus another 2 is 10. Now I remember when we've done adding, we can never put both digits down in one little space. So what I need to do is I write the 0 down here, and then I'm going to slide my paper over and carry that 1 up into the next column. Now I'm going to slide this one over so I can just look at that one diagonal. I have a 1, a 2, a 6, and a 1. I need to add all of those numbers together to figure out what to put down here. Well, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6 is 9, plus another 1 is 10. Again, I can't write all 10 down here. All I can do is put the 1s, so that'd be the 0. And then I want to carry the 1 over into the next column. When I adjust my papers again so that I can look at just at that final diagonal, I just want to focus on what's inside the box. So I have a 0 plus a 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. And when I finally remove my papers, my answer is going to be revealed down here at the bottom. I see 1008. 1008 is 1008. So I found out that 28 times 36 is 1008. Let's try another problem. Again, I already have my boxes set up for me. It's a 2 by 2 grid because I can see both of my numbers have 2 digits in them. Remember, when I start drawing my diagonals, I start in the bottom right corner and I want to aim corner to corner. And then again, I move up a row and I go corner to corner and corner to corner. And then one more time, corner to corner, to get those diagonals drawn. Now I can go ahead and write my numbers into the correct places. I have a 5 and a 1, so I'm going to put the 5 over here and the 1 over here. Notice each row only gets one number, and the numbers don't actually go in the boxes, they go above the boxes. For 74, I put the 7 over here and the 4 over here. One number per row. Now it's time for me to multiply. In my top row, I'm multiplying by 7s. So 1 times 7 is 7. That's 0 tens and 7 ones. 5 times 7 is 35. So that's 3 tens and 5 ones. You can see how it looks like 35 and it looks like 0, 7. Those are the numbers that I was looking for. In my bottom row, I'm multiplying by 4. 1 times 4 is just 4. That's no tens and 4 ones. 5 times 4 is 20, because I'm in the 5s column and the 4s row. 20 is 2 tens and 0 ones. Now it's time for me to add. I usually get a piece of paper to help me so I can only look at one diagonal at a time. I'm going to start by looking at the bottom right corner, just like I started with those diagonals. I need to focus on what's inside my lattice grid. All that's inside my lattice grid right now is the 4. I don't add this 4 because it's on the outside. 4 plus nothing is just 4. So I'm going to write that down here below. Now I'm going to take my papers and shift them so I can look at the next diagonal. I want to cover up what I've already added, so this 4 down here. And now I just want to focus on what's in this lattice, or in this diagonal right here. I have a 7, a 0, and a 0. 7 plus 0 plus 0 is just 7, so I can write my 7 down here. I don't need to carry anything because there's no tens involved. I'm ready to shift my papers and look at the next diagonal. I want to focus on what's inside the diagonal, inside my boxes, so I don't add this one because it's not a part of my square. I have a 0, a 2, and a 5. 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 7. Again, I don't have to worry about carrying anything because there's no tens. It's just 7 ones, so it fits in that space nicely. One more time, I want to move my paper so I'm looking in the last diagonal. The only thing that's inside my grid right here is a 3. I didn't carry anything, so I can just copy that 3 on the outside. Once I get rid of my 2 pieces of paper, you can now see that answer is 3774. That would be 3,774. I just found out that 51 times 74 is 3,774. Now it's time for you to help me out. Go ahead and get your whiteboard out and see what you can do with this 672 times 92. Notice my grid looks a little bit different this time because this top number has 3 digits. It's 6, 7, and 2. So in my top row, I need to make sure I have 3 squares so I can write all of my digits. I need to have a place for the 6, the 7, and the 2. Make sure in your whiteboard you have 3 squares across the top and 2 squares vertically. Now that I have my 672 taken care of, I'm going to take care of my 92. The 9 is going to go across the top, and the 2 is going to go on the bottom. Even though it's a 3 by 2 lattice this time, I'm still going to start by drawing my diagonals in the bottom right corner. It's just easier that way. You're more likely to get them drawn correctly. You want to go corner to corner, then move up a square, and again you aim from the first corner to the second corner and continue down again, making sure you hit right at those corners so that you divide your boxes in half equally. You move over and want to go corner to corner and corner to corner, and then you just have 1 square left to go corner to corner. Double check that you have your lattice shown like mine, where each square is divided perfectly into 2 pieces. Now it's just a matter of multiplying. Everything in this top row is going to be multiplied by 9. Everything in the bottom row is going to be multiplied by 2. 2 times 9 is 18. It's 1 10 and 8 ones. 7 times 9 is 63. If you're unsure of your 9's facts, remember you can use that finger trick. Go ahead and put your 2 hands out in front of you. Starting on your leftmost pinky, count 7 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put that pointer finger down. You can see 6 fingers to the left of your pointer and 3 fingers to the right. That means you have 6 tens and 3 ones. You can do the same thing for 9 times 6. Count over 6 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put the thumb down. You should see 5 fingers to the left, 4 fingers to the right. That's 5 tens and 4 ones. We know the tens go in the top square, the ones go into the bottom square, and you have 54. Multiplying by 2 is just doubling. So 2 times 2 is 4. That's 0 tens and 4 ones. Be careful that you don't write 4 here and 0 here. That would say 40, which is drastically different than just 4. 7 times 2, because I have 7 times 2 is 14. That's 1 10, 4 ones. And last but not least, 6 times 2 is 12. That's 1 10 and 2 ones. Now I'm ready to do my adding, and to help me with my diagonals, I'm going to put in those 2 pieces of paper. I want to start in the bottom right corner, and I need to make sure that I'm focusing on just what's inside my lattice grid. So nothing on the outside, just what's on the inside. I can see all I have in my lattice right here is just a 4. 4 plus nothing else is 4, so I can write that down below. Then I want to shift my papers over, so I'm looking at the second diagonal. In the second diagonal, I have an 8, a 0, and a 4. 8 plus 0 is 8, plus 4 is 12. I can't write all 12 down here. You're only allowed to put 1 digit per space. So I'm going to put the 2 down here and carry the 1, just like when I'm adding with regrouping. I slide my paper over so I can see that next diagonal, and I put a tiny little 1. Make sure you remember this is 1 carried and 1, so that when you're adding, you don't think it's 11, it's actually a 1 and a 1. Now in this next diagonal, I have 1, 1, 3, 1, 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5, plus another 1 is 6, plus another 2 is 8. 8 is perfectly acceptable to go down in this space. It's just 1 digit, and so it fills the space up nicely. Then I need to shift my papers over to look at the next diagonal. In this diagonal, I have a 4, a 6, and a 1. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. I can't write all 11 down here. I can only put the 1's place value, which is 1. I shift my paper over so I can see that next diagonal, and I carry over the 10. There was 1, 10, and 11. Now in this last diagonal, I can see I have a 5 and a 1. 5 plus 1 is 6, so I can write that in the last spot. I go ahead and I get rid of my papers, so I can reveal the answer written down across the bottom. There's 61824. That answer is 61,824. So we found out that 672 times 92 is 61,824. What can you do to solve this problem? 47 times 29. Do you know how to draw the lattice? Well, you notice it's a 2 by 2 multiplication problem. That means in my lattice, I need to make sure that I have 2 boxes across the top and 2 boxes horizontal. Make sure you have a 2 by 2 grid on your board as well. Do you know where to write the 47 and the 29? It doesn't really matter, since it's a 2 by 2, if you put the 47 on the top or 47 across the side. I always just take the top number and write it across the top. So I'm going to write my 4 here, my 7 here, my 2 on the top squares, and my 9 on the bottom squares. So I can see I have 47 times 29. Now where do I start drawing those diagonals again? If you said the bottom right corner, you'd be correct. And make sure you aim from corner to corner. Then you move up one. You want to go from corner to corner, and corner to corner. And then you just have one last square left. You want to make sure you go diagonally from corner to corner. How do I start multiplying? Well, you saw that this top row is multiplying by 2, and this bottom row is multiplying by 9. Anything in this column is multiplying by 4, and anything in this column is multiplying in 7. So in this box right here, I'm taking the 4 and the 2, and I'm multiplying. 4 times 2 is 8. Where do I write the 8? If you said this half of the triangle, you'd be correct. This is the 1's place value, and in the number 8, there are 8 1's. This is the 10's place value. There are no 10's, so I put a 0 there. What's 7 times 2? If you said 14, you'd be correct. How do I write 14 in this square? You should have said that in 14 there's 1 10, so I write a 1 here, and 4 1s, so I write the 4 here. If you had gotten them flipped, it would look like 41, and you know that 7 times 2 is not 41, and so you could have corrected it then. In this bottom row, you told me you multiply by 9. 7 times 9 is one that you can use that finger trick on. If you don't remember how to do the finger trick, go ahead and look back in that basics facts center that I have at the beginning of Chapter 7 centers. 7 times 9 is 63. How do I write 63 in this box? If you said put the 6 here because there are 6 10's and 3 here because there are 3 1's, you'd be correct. Last but not least, I have 4 times 9. You can use your finger trick on that again to figure out how many 10's and how many 1's. If you said 4 times 9 is 36, you'd be correct. How do I write 36 in this square? The 3 needs to go here because there are 3 10's, and the 6 needs to go here because there are 6 1's. You can see how it looks like 36. Well, now what do I do? We need to add, and so I get out those useful pieces of paper to help me to keep track of my diagonals. I need to make sure that I'm focusing on just adding what's inside the boxes. Well, in this bottom right corner, all that's inside the boxes is the 3. So I can just copy the 3 down below. Then I shift my papers over, and I want to look just at what's in the second diagonal. I have a 4, a 6, and a 6. What do I do with those numbers? If you said add 4 plus 6 plus 6, you'd be correct. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus another 6 is, yep, 16. How do I write the 16? Can I write the whole 16 down here? Unfortunately, we can't write the whole 16 down here. We can only put one of the digits. So we put the 6 down here because that's in the 1's place value. And then we have to carry the 1, 10, up into the next column. So it's kind of a goofy way of writing 16, but this is 1, 6, 16, 10 gets carried, the 1 stays where it is. Go ahead and shift your paper. Now I have a 1, an 8, and a 3. What do I do with those numbers? You're right that we have to add them. Can you add them in your head? If you said the answer is 13, you'd be correct. How do I write the 13? Do I put the 1 down here or the 3 down here? You're right that I have to put the 3 down here. I carry the 1, 10, and I put the 3 down below. In this last box, all I have is a 0 and a 1. Is that 10 or 1? If you said it was 1, you were correct. Remember, we're adding them still. 0 plus 1 is just 1. If you said 10, you were trying to put them together into one number, and that's not how we do it. Remember, we add in the diagonals. 0 plus 1 is 1. That's only one digit, so I don't have to worry about carrying anything. My problem is done because I've ended my last numbers in my lattice. So my answer is 1363. That's 1,363. Double check your work to make sure that you found the answer to be 1,363 as well. So now you should feel fairly comfortable with that lattice multiplication. You can use this any time that you are multiplying 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on digits together. Go ahead and move on to the next center in your activities list.